Things started off a little bit slow there, a bit like the transfer window. Although it hasn't officially started, I've got some views on Timo Werner. This is almost like we had to put in a broadcast just to discuss that. It's been going on for the last couple of days. I've seen a few people discussing it, and I thought that we would need to discuss it here on Paxton Road, PRTv Spurs. I've got some views, but I'm joined in the house by others to discuss. It's all about opinions. My opinions might not be the only one that counts. Oh, but I'm not happy. I'm not happy.
It's just different.
Hello, welcome to PRTv Spurs, Paxton Road TV. I am Sam, Spurs for Life, and this is Talking Points, episode number 128. 128 episodes of this thing. It's amazing. Amazing. We've been going for a few years now. And this one's going to be a very lively one, I would imagine, because we are in the midst of transfer window. It's not opened yet officially, but we're there or thereabouts. Well, they couldn't have started off any better at Spurs than to announce the loan signing of Timo Werner, my favourite player. But in the house to join me to talk about it on this beautiful, almost sunny day. Sid Spurs, Sean Hell, welcome. How are we doing, guys?
Doing fine.
How you doing is the question, mate. How are you doing?
We can discuss that. Like I said, I have my points, I have my views regarding what this transfer means. So before we get into it, let's like, subscribe, share all around. I'm just fiddling with stuff underneath because I've got me nice and yeah, I've got to keep them on the feet, keep myself warm. Keep myself toasty. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Good, thank you, Sean. Yeah, let's get into this. I've seen a few pods recently. As always is the case with Spurs, it's one extreme to the other. There's so many highs, and then the people so many lows, and then it's like highs again, and then it's lows. But what I am seeing at the moment is there is a bit of a division in terms of what the expectations are for Spurs. I'll state my position very quickly, and then we can discuss it. I said not even the back end. I said when we signed Timo Werner, it was terrible signing, and I will use the word terrible. He's a terrible player. People have their opinion. Oh, he's better than this. He's better than that person. He's better than that. He's shit. And I'm going to not sway him from that opinion at all. I'm not going to flip up and say, oh, well, Spurs have got a player in, or he could be a backup. He's shit. He's absolutely shocking as a player. And I've watched a lot of football. I've coached. I've done a little bit of scouting, etc., etc. You can say all you want about Timo Werner. You can say he's got these numbers, he's got that. He could add something. He's better than Brian Hill. He's better than what we've got. Better than Solomon. That might all be true, but he's shit. If we are talking about taking us to next levels and all the rest of which the manager said, he clearly stated that he's looking to pursue titles, league titles, blah blah blah. I said I'd be happy with a Carabao Cup and finishing just above relegation if that was the case. Some people disagree with that, but that's how I feel. Success for me means winning trophies. If we're saying that this signing here is going to propel us, given what we've got, I'm willing to listen to the argument. I'm willing to listen to anybody in the comments, whatever they want to do. But if this is a signal of intent, I don't care who else we buy for this. It's not a good deal. It's not a good deal. That's me in my position, and I'm more than willing to discuss that and give people my opinions as to further reasons to why this is a real signal of intent for Spurs and potentially not a good one. So that's me. Put your comments in the comments. I'll come to you firstly, Sean. What's your thoughts on Timo? And like I said, if you think this is a good deal, I'm happy to hear it. If you think this is a deal which was probably going to likely to happen, given the fact that the talk at the end of last season was, oh, he's done all right. He's done all right, it's Timo. I was like, please pray, please don't don't take this any further, Spurs, but they have done. So, yeah, your thoughts, and then we'll get into Mr. Sid Spurs as he's driving along in his car. What's going on?
What's going on is that there's the second season pruning of the squad, and I'm actually okay with the signing because it's a try before you buy. It's been extended for another year. The guy turned up part of the way through the season last year without pre-season, without knowledge of the system, made significant contributions in terms of goals involvement, and is better than Ryan Sessegnon, Brian Hill, Manor Solomon, and a number of other players in our squad. And the Ange Postecoglou system is very, very fixed when it comes to forward play. And we have ample evidence on his contributions last year that he fits that system very well. So Levy has actually reduced the amount, the option to buy. It is just only an option. You know, the guy's going to get a pre-season, which he never had last year. He hadn't played since November the 19th when he turned up in January. And I'm prepared to give him a go. He's well liked in the squad. We are, if nothing else, we are Vibes FC. The squad, he looks happy. They're very happy with him. Yeah, I'm more than willing to add an experienced player to a very young team. Does it make him a starter? No, it doesn't. Nothing makes you a starter in the Ange Postecoglou system. In fact, you're supposed to be rotated, as it was, due to injuries, due to absences, because of the AFCON, or due to the Asian Championships. He did a job for us, and you know, I think people are losing their heads over a big nothing burger. You know, there's players going out of this squad. He's better than the players that will be leaving. Leave it at that.
Sid, are you still there?
I'm here. Give me 2 minutes. I'm just going to come off my phone and I'm going to go onto the laptop. So you guys carry on talking and I'll join you back in 2 minutes.
No problem. Right. Better than what we've got. I can't disagree with your points, but again, there's caveats to that. Better than Brian Hill. Again, is that subjective or objective? I haven't seen enough of Brian Hill to know. I do know he's lightweight. I don't think Brian Hill's good enough to play in the Premier League, even given X amount of time he's been there, and given him looking forward, if he had more time in there, would Brian Hill be a player that I would want at Spurs? No. Ryan Sessegnon had high hopes. He must be 24 now. Injury record, mentality, but there's a lot of things with him which I would say that he's not going to have a career at Spurs. And a number of managers have come in and not really picked him much. Even when he's been fit, not really been that great. So again, I'm happy to say that. Solomon, I don't know Solomon. Would I have chosen Solomon as a person to come into our squad last season? Purchase? No, I'm not. Brennan Johnson, Kulishevsky, blah, blah, blah. All these players, which Timo Werner is now competing with, because he's going to be competing with them. When you pay 185 grand or whatever it is he's going to be being paid, I would imagine. So it's not. We're not paying him that. What are we paying him?
He's on 160, not 185.
All right, I'll take the 25 grand off him. 160 is still about £159,000 a week too much for Timo Werner, in my opinion. Like I said, I'm clowning. I'm saying all these things because I've watched the guy enough to know you can get a tune. Whether that tune is a tune that's audible to the ear, or is it just for dogs, I don't know. Because personally, as I said, I've watched enough of him at Chelsea. I've watched enough of him at Leipzig in the past. looking at his stats in the Bundesliga, 257 games, 102 goals. I think it's 46 assists in his time there. Leipzig wanted him back. He went back to Leipzig. I've not seen Leipzig play much this season, so I can't tell you whether or not he was giving them additional benefits, whether or not he was anybody that, you know, could do anything. But he was injured, so I'll give him that. But I've seen enough of him in the Premier League to know that at Chelsea wasn't the best. They couldn't wait to get rid of him. Some people are saying, oh, well, he was all right. He was all right. He was an impact. I think that's more clowning because he's now at Spurs. I said last season, this player will do bits. Like I said, Brennan Johnson does a couple of bits and pieces. He's good. Are we going to say that Brennan Johnson is going to take us to the next level? No. Is the son of Timo Werner going to improve us for next season to compete for any sort of honours? Not the Premier League, not Champions League, we're not in that. I don't think he would benefit us in the Europa, blah, blah, blah. He might help us in sense of a cup run. But the reason I'm saying about Timo Werner in terms of his abilities is because against the top teams, that's when I want to see a player perform. I don't give a toss if he can do well against Crystal Palace. I don't care whether or not he's going to make a difference at Bournemouth. I want to see him in a semi-final, in a final, scoring winners, assisting to help elevate us to that next level. We've all said our next level has to be, unless I'm wrong, success. What does that mean? In my opinion, it's quite simple. To win something. I don't want to see us improve from 5th to 4th next year or even 3rd. I don't care. We're not winning anything. It doesn't matter. He's not, in my opinion, going to elevate us to winning anything. Now, whether or not he's better than Brian Hill, yeah, you can have that, but I don't think that's so much of a benchmark to be better than. To be better than. Are we saying Solomon? I ain't seen enough of Solomon. Again, I'm using the same names, but he's not a level that's going to elevate us in any way, shape, or form. We've had a poor season in terms of our front players. The mentality of some of these players has been questioned. He's got nothing in his fucking eyes. I looked at him and he's just, okay, boss, what do you want me to do? Run down the wing. I've said this on multiple occasions, on multiple streams. He's not going to do anything because he doesn't have the mentality. He's not going to produce a worldie out of nothing. He's not going to play against Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, and do anything of any note, in my opinion. And when I see him being signed up for you with an option to buy, fucking hell, what option to buy? Why are you even considering buying this guy? Let alone bloody getting him on loan, paying him that sort of money. It doesn't smack me as a team or certainly of a squad that has success in mind for next season. That's just where I'm at with him. And I don't care if we like looking with Hudson-Odoi, the next people that we're sort of. Can you see where we're going? If we start our benchmark here with him, we're not going to suddenly start looking at people like, I don't know, Elise and Eze. We're not. We're just not. We are showing where we're at, and Hudson-Odoi is the kind of next names being mentioned and all the rest of it. Sid, in your opinion, do you want Timo Werner at Spurs? And like I said, I'm happy to hear whatever you say. I don't care if you say you want him or not. Whatever, it's not. It doesn't bother me. I want to discuss the merits of how he can be successful at Spurs. Hence the reason why I put that title. So you're allowed to take the floor and say what you think about it.
So that title, was it .co.uk, was it .com, or was it .wtf? I think it's .wtf in it. Do you know what? Timo Werner, I don't think any Spurs fans wanted him last season, even when Ange got him on loan, right? And I said to you guys, and I said it on the groups as well, he was going to get signed end of the season because Ange bought him in. Ange Postecoglou wanted him at Spurs last season on loan. And even after the first couple of games and whatever, and people were still saying he was shit, and you were saying it's Sam and this, that, the other, Postecoglou just said he's getting, in my opinion, I'm not mine, as in Ange's opinion, he was saying he's getting better. He's to the player that he thinks he can be, and the way he plays Ange's system, which is the most integral part of the system, is Ange's system. And Postecoglou believes Werner fits his system, his style of play, hence why he stayed. How many games did he start last season when we said he should not be starting? But he stuck with him. He stuck with him. And we saw it. We were at the game, Sean. We was at the game, Sam, and we saw how many times he played. Sometimes he didn't get, he played all right. Sometimes he was shit. Sometimes he never got the ball. And we've had these conversations on reaction shows where you've said it, Sean, I've said it, Sam, you've said it. How many times was Werner or Son on the left constantly free, but the ball never ever went out wide for some reason? Never ever went out wide to him, and he was always in acres of space. And it was not just him; it happened to Son as well on the odd occasion. End of the season, he got injured, didn't he?
He's got a hamstring injury.
Hamstring, right? And I had a feeling anyway that we was going to sign him, because the option was to get another year out of him or to buy him. They've gone off the buying him, but they've decided to get him on loan. Now, as Spurs fans, we can love him, we can hate him, we can call him shit, we can do that. And this debate's been going on Twitter now for ages and ages, and it's going to continue now, because I've already seen people hammering him and people saying ambition, there's no ambition, there's this, that, the other. Postecoglou's rubber signed, sealed this deal. He's asked for Werner for an extra year on loan. Now, that could be the beginning of the end of Postecoglou, or it might just be a masterstroke, or I don't know. Is he going to be a starter? Is he going to be a squad player? We don't know. And I think the other reason is because now we're in the Europa League as well. More games. Does that mean he might be the Europa League starter? Because don't forget, we're going to need fresh faces. We're going to need extra players, which we didn't have last season. Now we have. So Postecoglou is probably looking at it thinking, do you know what, 180 grand a week, I think it's a lot of money to pay for him. I think he wanted more than that.
165.
165. I think he wanted more, but he's got 165. Postecoglou's probably looked at that and thought, you know what, I'm not paying any money. Or Daniel Levy's looked at that and thought, I'm not paying any transfer fees. I'm not paying anything like that. 165 grand, I can probably pay him for that. And we know how Daniel Levy operates. But it's Postecoglou who signed and rubber stamped the deal. And if Postecoglou believes in this player, then as much as you might think he's shit, Sean might want him at the club, other people, whatever. It is what it is, unfortunately. And Postecoglou is the person who's going to have to deal with it. He's going to have to take the consequences, whether it works or it doesn't work. Ambition-wise, I totally agree. He keeps going on about this title winning. I want to go for a title. Is Timo Werner the type of player that's going to win you titles? No, he's not. But as a squad player, as somebody in the squad for Europa League or for the cup games, that's the angle he's looking at. Now we'll find out in the summer window if they go and get a proper left-sided player. Then we can say, all right, they've only brought him in as a makeshift player, somebody come off the bench. We don't know. But if they don't buy a player in the summer, left-sided, like you said, Sam, the Elise, Eze's, Ulises, there's other players out there, then we've got a serious problem, because that just proves that Postecoglou is listening or being told what to do by Daniel Levy. I don't know about if you've read it this morning. I don't know what because I don't know, Sean. I know you're shaking your head, but
honestly, Sid, I've heard some shit over the last 3 days that takes the fucking biscuit on my friend. Because the thought, is there anything in the last year that Postecoglou has done or said which says he listens to what his boss says?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
You just said it.
Is the players, if he doesn't get the signings, that the list that they've
you know what this is? This is a rehash of last summer. What's coming out is people doubt Ange Postecoglou. Why don't you be honest? Why don't you be honest and say you don't want the brother there? You don't want him there. In spite of Postecoglou, because he's improved us.
You're taking it out of context. I didn't say I don't want Postecoglou there. All I'm saying to you is, if he ends up with the player, right? Apparently, they've got a list
He's a
of players.
benchmark, Sam said. How do you know he's a benchmark?
Who?
That Werner is the benchmark.
Well,
All right,
I told you, he's better than about half a dozen of the players.
I agree with you.
Players who are going out of the door.
I
Let me try and
agree with you.
explain.
What I'm saying is, Postecoglou's got a list.
I'm sorry, I'm not
Postecoglou's
listening. I'm
got
not
a list
listening.
of players.
What I'm hearing is that you don't trust Ange Postecoglou.
I didn't say that.
You've obviously didn't enjoy last season. You know, the fact that we've turned the club around.
You're not listening.
We finished higher. We're back in Europe.
Carry on. No, you're not listening. You're not listening. But carry on.
Right. So I'm going to come in here because, like I said, it's all about opinions, and like I said, everybody's got this. It's not a problem. All right. So if we signed him, which we have signed him, I'm asking this question: do you think we've signed Timo Werner to be a backup player, to become a starter in certain?
Yes, 100%. Yes.
So what the hell is our academy
the guy's
for?
career and Postecoglou.
All right. So have we not learned our lesson from backup players? I'm going to ask this question: is Timo Werner better than Steven Bergwijn as a player? Just as an honest opinion. Do we think Timo Werner is better than Steven Bergwijn?
Well, judging on Steven Bergwijn now, yeah, he is.
Okay,
he went to Ajax and he nearly got relegated.
Timo Werner went to Leipzig for the second time, and by all accounts, I don't know because I haven't got enough information about him to say he did this or he did that. But I have not seen too many instances of him starting for Leipzig and scoring. Now, whether that's injuries, I don't know. And if it is injuries, that's even more concerning for me. He's just coming off now of a hamstring injury. We've all talked about hamstring injuries for players and what it does. He's 29 years of age, and he was shit when he was 26. He was shit when he was 27, 28. He's not going to get better. He's not. So why the hell are we now sidelining our under-21s who have completed the Premier League 2 title this year? We've got a 16-year-old that doesn't even play for the under-21s. He's bypassed that, has been put on the bench, and he can play across the whole front three. 16. We're getting an 18-year-old in Bergville this season. Why are we buying a 29-year-old dead-eyed person that doesn't contribute anything, who we're going to pay 165 grand? When we were talking about Adama Traore coming to this club, what's the difference? Adama Traore looks like Booker T. He's got bigger muscles. He's much quicker than... There's no difference. But I was seeing all over social media, why the hell we associate? And I was saying the same thing. Why the hell we associate with that guy? He's not going to elevate us. And in those times, we had players like Steven Bergwijn. Now, I'm not saying that Steven Bergwijn is a worldie in any way, shape, or form. But given his age, given what he was doing, what I'd seen of him, I can at least have a little bit more talent ID. There's no talent in Timo Werner at this moment in time. That's gone. That's when he was a young player back in the Bundesliga, when he can't finish. His assist record is not going to be that great. I can see it here. I've got it in terms of the Premier League. 69 appearances in the Premier League, 12 goals, 12 assists. I'm not sure if that's next level taking us. I don't believe it is. Gil hasn't had an opportunity, but I don't think he's good enough. I can see that. So I'm happy to agree with that. Solomon, I couldn't tell you. But from what I know, when he was at Fulham, weren't that great. So I'm happy to say he's better than those players. But better than those players is not something I want to start saying, oh, yeah, he's now better than Gil. Oh, yeah, that's it now. That's it. He's now going to elevate us. He's going to be starting more games than not next season. I'll tell you that for a fact. If we are in 4 competitions. Because it doesn't make any sense to buy him to loan him otherwise. It would make no sense. So you're going to say, oh, Son, you're going to give you a rest, but we're going to bring Timo Werner in. That's like the same thing that we did last season when we had, I don't know, at left back, Jodi. Oh, we're going to bring Ben Davies in. We all know Ben Davies is a great professional, but he's not the same player. He's not good enough. He wasn't good enough then. He's not going to be good enough next season. So why do we think the same thing is going to be when we're going to say that about Timo? Oh, right, he's all right. He's a good backup. He's going to be better next season because Andrew's going to get into him. It don't work like that. It doesn't work like that for these players of that age. Young players, yes. Not him. I can't see it. I just cannot understand what we're doing. And now we're going to not give an opportunity to a younger player, even some of those ones that didn't. It's getting me mad here, because now we're going to have to watch him play more games than not. And if we get the likes of Hudson, let's say we even got an Elise, that makes even less sense, because you would imagine if you got Son, Elise, let's even say Kulishevsky in there, who I'm scared are all above Timo Werner, why would you get him? So this fact that we're going to say, oh, we might get a better player, we shouldn't be looking at this, then why bother at 165 grand a week? That's what my problem is. £10 a week. All right, Timo, you can sit on the bench. And I'm being facetious when I say that. But a lot lower wages and opportunities are not being afforded to players that we know, or we at least think have an opportunity to play for the team next year. Given that we had the Premier League 2 champions this year, it doesn't make any business sense to me. Not even footballing sense, business sense. I'm at a loss for it. And I'm at a loss for it because if it is Ange Postecoglou that said, no, I want him, I'm going to question his talent ID, because he's the one that said he wanted Brennan Johnson. And I can tell you now, he's not going to be a worldie. He could be a very good player. He's no worldie. He's not a worldie. So whether or not he's going to get us Europa League, I don't know. But the standards that we're now setting by the players that we're now getting is what I said at the end of last season. If we sign, that's our intent. So I don't think we're on for any leagues. I don't think we're on for winning Europas. But I might have an opportunity to win a domestic, because Manchester United did it. And that's the only hope I'm holding out for next season. Darius, I'll bring you in before we go back. What's your thoughts? And then we can have a talk. And like I said, it's not a problem if there's disagreements and arguments. I just don't want it to get out of hand. That's all.
I'm thoroughly entertained. I have to say, guys, you guys are box office TV at the moment. And I hear what you all are saying. I think there's nothing wrong with everybody making a valid point. And in my opinion, I see what Sean's saying about he's much better. Maybe not much better, but he's definitely better than a lot of the players we've got here. But at the same time, I see what Sam and Sid are kind of saying, in the sense that for me, I want to know where the logical sense comes in the signing. Okay, cool. He's not going to cost anything. Cool. He's going to come in for a year and probably not be signed. But it's like the money that we're spending on his wages it still equates to around £10 million. Why not invest that £10 million into another position? And like we said, give a very, very talented bunch of youngsters a chance to really maybe shine and solidify a place in the team. I don't really think it just shows that if we weren't to sign him and we were to still sign, a big left winger and then have a youngster, my mentality would be, okay, cool. This kid is going places, whoever that be, Mikey Moore, Jamie Donnelly, whoever that be who comes in that position. That kid is going places. He has the full trust of the coach. And then we now have a left winger who we can put the trust on. Werner doesn't even come into my question anyway. So I don't really see the point in having him for another year, even if we were to get rid of players as well. Because I do think that giving kids a chance is much more beneficial than giving Werner another year. So I hear what both sides are saying. The reason why I'm very pessimistic is because I know that we're not going to sign a left winger anywhere near the quality of Elise. So Sam, get that out your head immediately. Like,
I know we're not.
We're not signing those players. I know we're not signing those players.
You're not talking, unless it's, again, we have to look at the media. Sorry, we have to look at the media side. The media want to sell stories, but why would they want to be selling Hudson-Odoi to us? Why?
That's already been like, Johan Langer the report was that he was offered Hudson-Odoi and Johan Langer had declined it. So I know it's a little bit of it's a namesake, you can use his name, but it's just a case of, I'm just going off what's happened in the past. And I don't see us spending the money that it's going to take to get a winger, bearing in mind we've spent 50 on Brennan Johnson. And again, Brennan Johnson got the 3rd most assists in the Premier League. I think that's impressive. But I do agree with you, Sam. I don't think he's going to turn out to be a world-class, world-beating. I don't think he's good enough to start for Tottenham. So again, I'm looking at that and thinking, well, if Brennan Johnson's not going to start left or right wing, what's the point in spending 50 million on him to sit on the bench? It's all about spending the money rightly. If you're going to go and spend 50 million on a winger, in my opinion, you have to sort of know that he's going to be that starter, that elite player. And I just see Brennan. I see it. It seems to me that even Ange Postecoglou sees Johnson as an impact player off the bench. He seems like he makes more impact when he comes off the bench at 60 minutes. So, yeah, I know we're not going to get a left winger in. That's why I'm like worried that Werner's coming, because I know he's going to get a lot of minutes and I know he's going to play a lot of games. And I know that the level that Postecoglou wants to be at, Timo Werner is not that level. He's personally said himself he wants to challenge for the league. If you sign a Timo Werner to do whatever role in whatever team, you're not winning any league, unfortunately. So that's, maybe I'm being a pessimistic glass half empty sort of guy, but I just don't see us spending 80 mil, 60, 70, 80 mil on a left winger to then justify Werner being the backup. I don't see that happening. So that's why I'm a little bit like, what's the point? If we go inside a left winger, I'll be the first person to come here and say, Tottenham are actually serious this season. We've signed an elite player in that position, and Werner will be an all right backup. I'm not that mad with Brennan Johnson and Kulusevski and Mikey Moore also being that option. But I don't see us signing a player of that quality to justify Werner being a backup. That's my point.
So before I come back to you, I want Sean to come in, because obviously I know Sean's got his opinion. I want to hear all sides. I've said that's what we're here for, and then I'll come back to you as well, because I know there is differences and there will be differences, but it doesn't mean to say that we all support Tottenham. We want the best for Tottenham. That's the first thing I'll say to the audience here. So if you think it's not about getting out and arguing and all the rest of it, we're just having differences of opinion. So Sean, your thoughts about, again, I'm looking at it from a perspective of what's the benefit of Timo? What's the benefit of this signing? And I'm still struggling based off of last season, based off of what I know, based off what I see. I don't see any benefit in even having him as I don't even like to use the word backup, because we've seen that backup players will play. Emerson Royal's supposedly a backup. He played quite a lot in this season. The drop-off, as I keep saying, between the top players in our team and the next lot down is too wide. The gap's too big. We have to try and close that gap somehow. Now, whether that gap's trying to be closed by a potential youngster who's shown some real quality, but 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, who you know's got some sort of resale value, unless they really fall off a cliff. I know we're not buying Timo Werner, but you are spending £10 million on keeping him at the club, as to say he's a backup. Backup for what? Backup to do what? To back up Son? To back up Kulusevski? Who's he backing up? Who's he backing up? Because those players in themselves are not going to get better. We can have real conversations about Son as well. We can have real conversations about Richarlison and our front line in general. So if you're now showing me this intent by bringing him in, and we haven't addressed any of those other problems, we've got a lot more to address. It just shows we can't do all of that next season. You can't do it all in one transfer window, even 2 or even 3. So are we looking at a long-term view? Which, if that's the case, Ange should not come out and say things like, I want to be competing, and then get angry with the fans when we don't want Arsenal to win the league. I don't want to hear that. I want to show me how you can improve these players by next season through this pre-season. I can't see how Timo Werner's going to improve a lot. That's it. Sorry. Sure.
I really, there's an awful lot of major assumptions being made here. Where is your evidence that the acquisition of Timo Werner is going to prevent the advancement of some of our talented young players? Where's your evidence? Where's your evidence?
That's my evidence. Last season's my evidence. When we were in turmoil,
it's not even evidence. It's just who's going to get those minutes. It's like, who's going to get those minutes?
Turmoil last season at one point in that front line, in turmoil for a lot of our other positions, where we were forced to play players that we all said should not be putting on a Spurs shirt. We saw them all. We then decided that, right, okay, we're not going to trust any of the youngsters, even though they were getting rave after rave reviews. None of them, apart from Mikey Moore and Donnelly, occasionally started to make appearances. And that was even towards the end. So even when we had all them players out post-Chelsea, I don't remember seeing a lot of them guys starting. I don't. So that's my evidence. Looking back to look forward. That's all I can say on that. And if I look forward now, if we are going to be signing him, and we've already got a 18-year-old in Bergville coming in, I'm assuming that he's going to be a bit further ahead than some of these others. Is he going to go straight into the academy to play under 21s? I don't think so. by what I've seen in terms of his talent level.
No, it's already been said he's coming into the first team.
Right. So we are going to suffocate players because we've already signed him now as Timo Werner. They're not going to bring all these other players in.
Bergvall's a centre mid. In defence, Bergvall plays more in a midfield role, I would say. So for me, it's just he's. I don't know. I just don't see the point. I would rather give, like you said, I'd rather give time to a 16-year-old. And, you know, in my opinion, I've seen enough from Mikey Moore to know that he would have a lot of impact on that team. And I look at around the country as well, and teams were playing very, very, very young kids, and we didn't know if it was going to work, but you'd never know. That's the whole point of taking the risk. So I'd rather see, you know, Mikey Moore and Jim, and I don't really class those minutes that those kids got last season as any sort of worthwhile minutes as well. That's coming on for 4 or 5 minutes at the end of a game isn't going to do anything. So I want to see genuine, you know, 60 minutes. The position or the role that Werner's going to now have coming on at 60 minutes, I would like to see Mikey Moore do that. That's my only thing. It may be a risk, but why not? We've been taking risks with the way we defend all season. Why not take a bit of a risk with the starting lineup and the players in the team?
Spurs fans still think every coach we employ is the Messiah, not realising that whilst Daniel Levy is playing God, then no Messiah will have control of new purchases. How's Spurs saying? Aaron said he expects us to be in a title race next season with the Werner signing. He approves all the signings and they are his. Then Ange is delusional. Stop gaslighting fans. Ange is a yes man. Sorry. Again, I can't prove or disprove that, but the evidence is beginning to stack up in certain situations. And if this is his signing, if this is he wants him, then we can't then turn around to the board and say, oh, the board's this, the board's that, lack of a... I can't do that because it's a lot of money to pay for a player when you're on 160 grand a week. You know, the likes of Trossard we could have got last season. We could have got Trossard, or at least attempted to get Trossard. We didn't. Arsenal did. That made a massive difference. And he was nowhere close to being the 60, 70, 80 million pound players that people say we have to get. No, you just got to do the right type of business. Analyze what you can see from what you've seen historically. Lisandro Trossard was always a good player. We've seen that when he's at his Brighton days. I seen Timo in his Chelsea days. He was a laughing stock. He's got more memes than anybody else I've seen in football recently. So why are we going to think that we're going to turn him into a worldie? And even if we don't turn him into a worldie, what benefit is it to us if no other player can get a look in because he's on the bench? I can't understand it. Sid, I know you've been quiet for a little bit. What's your take on the whole thing in terms of the transfer window? Because you're the transfer window guy. Do you think then that we are going to be looking to get an additional player to him? Are we going to get better than him? Are we looking to fill different positions? Is this left side, right side, forward line now kind of done? Or are we still looking to improve that? I don't even know. I don't know what's going on now.
From judging by last season, innit? He keeps saying he wants to get another centre back in. He's on about midfielders. I honestly believe this Werner signing means that Son's going to be the first choice left winger, and Werner will be the backup if needed, as and when. And then Richarlison's, is he going? Is he not going? He's saying he wants to stay. Other people are saying other things. I don't know. We'll only find out in the summer. But I think Son will move to the left, Richarlison, and then again the question is, are we going to get a striker? I don't know how true it is yesterday and whenever it was, but I believe Lang and Ange Postecoglou, apparently the list is there and he's already told them this is what I want. So we don't know. We can speculate to accumulate. We can say we want Eze, we want Elise, we want this player, we want that player. There's that Atlanta midfielder, Edison, and then there's that other one. There's loads and loads of players, right? But as Spurs fans, we've known this for years in, year out. Daniel Levy, he's the one that breaks people's hearts because every year there's players on that list, rumors, this player, that player, and then in the end we don't end up getting anyone. Trossard was another one. We could have had him. Talks were held, but he didn't want to pay. Was it the extra 5 million or something? And then Arsenal came in for him, and then Arsenal said, "We'll give you what you want," and he went. He didn't, dilly-dally. Whereas Daniel Levy, we all know what he wants to do. So regardless of this list that Ange Postecoglou's got, I don't know how many players he's got on that list, what positions the players that he wants in that list to strengthen. I don't know. But it's Daniel Levy who's going to authorize the players and the money. And we already know Postecoglou turned around and said, I'd rather buy 2 for 50 million than 1 for 100 million. So these 70, 80, 90, 100 million pound players that we're all hoping for and praying for is not going to happen because the manager's already said, I'd rather get 2 players than the 1 player. So, you know, Olise or Eze, I'm just giving examples. They might be 60, 70 million pound players. He might say, well, I'd rather get 2 35 million pound players instead. I don't know. But this window, for me, is going to be very interesting, right? Because you've got Phillips to come back. Obviously, Alfie Divine's coming back. Then you've got, don't forget, you've got a title winner, and Ndombele is come back. You've got, you've got Spence again. They want to buy him for 8.5 million, but Spurs have apparently Spurs have put 8.5 million on him. They don't want to pay that 8.5 million. Then you got the likes of Dorrington, Donnelly, Mikey Moores. You got all them youngsters coming up. So I don't know. Honestly, this transfer window is going to be like every other transfer window. We're going to be hoping for X, and X, and we're going to end up with Y. And they're going to justify the players, and we're going to end up saying Y. And the biggest thing for me is this: if Andrew keeps saying he wants to challenge for the title next year, then he has to go and buy the players that are going to be able to help him and the squad challenge for the title. And don't forget, we got the Europa League next year as well, so that's an extra cup competition.
Let me just try. Sorry, let me just try and from a Postecoglou perspective. I don't want people to think I want him out because I don't. And if I was him as a manager, of course you're going to say all the right things. You're not going to, in your first year of employment, say, no, he's a squad player. I didn't want him. I don't want him. Like what Conte did. Conte had obviously the gravitas to do that because of what he's won, blah, blah. So I wouldn't expect Ange to come in and start throwing toys out the pram, upsetting the apple cart, as they say. I don't expect him to do that. But what I do expect him to do is be realistic. Be realistic in what you're saying. Also, when he was asked direct questions, he was getting irate with certain journalists, which fine if you do, but then he was getting irked by the fact that saying that we're not in the title race this season. Well, why aren't we? And I kind of think, well, you're not really, because we just lost 4 games in a row, or whatever it was in the 3 games in a row. You're not really. You've not proven that. So you can't continue to just be so belligerent in the way you're answering questions and not expect people to pick stuff up when it doesn't quite go according to plan. You can't say you're in a title race but lose 3 games on a trot. You can't say that and then have not winning 5 games and have that, as back-to-back. To me, that's just being a little bit naive about the situation. You have to be realistic. And I said, it's not Scotland, it's not Japan, it's not Australia. You have to learn. And the fact that I know that he is actually beginning to understand that situation is the last game of the season, the last couple of games of the season where we've had to make some adjustments, and we have. I'm hoping that continues next season. That adjustment isn't looking good when I'm seeing Timo going to be playing the majority of our games in 4 competitions next season. That's I just cannot understand where that's going. You're on mute, Sean.
I have nothing to add. You have just, with due respect, just chatted a whole load of shit for the last 5 minutes.
Fair enough.
In those games that we were losing, where did Ange say we're going to win the league? He said it when technically we still had the points in the bag. After that, he didn't say it. So don't give me that bullshit. The man is honest. He's very honest.
He said we were going to challenge for the league. He said we were going to challenge for the league next season. There was a press conference. He said we are challenging for the league.
Prior to losing to Newcastle, Liverpool, Arsenal, all that, he said that.
I'm sorry, Sean, but even if we, before those 4 games, the fact that he said that, if he thinks we're going to even get close, any chance, there's no way we were challenging for the league from when we had it.
You know what this tells me, Darius? This is the toxicity, that the mentality that exists in our fan base. You want to introduce 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds in front of our fan base. who will absolutely crucify a youngster. We are nowhere near. We are nowhere near the mentality of the Liverpools and the Manchester Uniteds, where they allow their players to make mistakes but get behind them. That's the problem. We haven't got our fan base is not able to allow our young players to develop. And I've seen it for history. I've been going to that club since 1968, young man. It's how many young players have we developed over the years? We haven't, and part of that is because they get crucified every other week in whatever stadium it is. And I wish you'd all be honest. You want the coach gone. You want the coach.
I don't want him gone.
You do want the coach gone because you are not accepting. And again, Sam, it's Scotland, it's Japan. It's so belittling. Historically, he's gone and won in those things. What makes you think he can't
the Premier League? It's the Premier League. It's Man City. It's Arsenal. It's Liverpool. It's Newcastle. It's Saudi-led.
Sean, listen.
It's now a farmers' league.
Right, okay.
Only one superpower.
Listen,
there's
more than that.
There's more than that.
Given the teams that have won the Premier League in recent times, and forget about Manchester City.
The teams, there is no plural there, Sam. There is no plural. One team has won it.
Manchester United, Chelsea, Arsenal, Leicester have all won it in recent times, if you want to look back, and Manchester City. So I am not going to just say Manchester City. You can look at the last 4 years, of course. But Liverpool, a point behind. They've been
Liverpool,
they've been
and then
2 points behind.
Manchester City.
My point being, of all those teams, and you can look at Leicester as being the anomaly because there's always going to be an outlier. In that sense, we should have won the league against Leicester because if we had the better squad. But in all them other opportunities and situations, they either had the best players, the best managers, or the best coaches available to them. Conte won the league with Chelsea. Jose Mourinho won the league with Chelsea. Pep's won it with City. Jurgen Klopp's won it. And if you go back to the Arsenal times, you can look at Wenger. Now, Wenger's the only one you can say, oh, he came from Japan. But he inherited a team at Arsenal that was full of people that had already won stuff for them. Tony Adams, Steve Bowles, all the rest of them played. And then he adapted accordingly. He didn't then go out and buy a Timo Werner type player. I don't remember that. And saying that we're going to win a league next year.
Every Wenger.
No. Your point you made, though, the point you made was like, we're not giving him an opportunity. I'm showing you historically, you do not win leagues with players like that. If you've already got players of that standard at the club already, you cannot. It's impossible. I'm trying to be as opportunistic as I can. And I even said it when Conte was manager, we should be winning the league or Champions League. But that was based on the fact that we had a proven winner in him, and we did have Harry Kane still in our club, and we had a lot of other players that were able to at least produce it for a game. Go back to 2019, Poch got us to a Champions League final. If you go back even further, we came third, we came second. We should have came second twice. So we have got the potential to do that. But look at the players that we had then against the players that we have now. And you're telling me that next season with him, and even if we got, like, say, another Hudson-Odoi, Eze, that we would be in a position to win the league, given all the other things that we've talked about, given all the other players that we've now seen in the league, given the managers, there's no chance. There's just no. Well, as I said, there is a chance, but
there's no chance. There's no chance we're winning the league. I'm telling you now. I'm being realistic. There's no chance of winning the league. Whether you want to dream about it, whether you want to be an optimistic football fan, there's no chance of winning the league. With Pep Guardiola, Arteta, and the current state of the situation we're in, the way we play football, the players we have, there's no chance of winning the league. There is no chance. So I'm not thinking about winning the league. I won't even care if Ange said that we're going to win. I don't care about that. What I'm looking at now is, are we going to put ourselves in a position to then further ourselves to be successful?
Clearly, people do care about him saying that. Why?
No, what I'm saying is I me personally, when Ange says stuff like that, I'm thinking that's very stupid to say. I don't believe him when he says that. I don't believe him when he says he thinks we're going to challenge for the league, because I don't see that happening. there's no evidence to suggest last
How do you
season
challenge the mentality which has us not winning the league?
you win a
since
trophy.
1961?
You win a trophy. You win a trophy. That's why I want us to put ourselves in a position where we're actually going to challenge for a domestic trophy, which will then give us the mentality to think, you know what, we can go and do it. The way we play football is not set up to win a domestic trophy. We do not set up to do what Man United did at Wembley in the final to win that game. There is no way we're going to do that. And sometimes that's what it takes to win a trophy. I saw us play the way that we played against Manchester City. We got close. We lost 1-0. We lost to Fulham. Okay, he underestimated the fact that Fulham might actually challenge. But at the end of the day, the way that we play football, we've conceded 64 goals in the Premier League, and I wouldn't change one of our defenders. So for me, that says to me, we need to change the way our system works and the way we defend, because if otherwise, we're going to keep leaking goals like we have this season, and we may score 70-odd goals again, but if we concede 60 like we did, there's no chance we win the league and there's no chance we win a trophy. So I want to change the mentality by winning a domestic trophy, which is, in my opinion, the best way to do it. But the way that we play football and what I've seen last season, we're not going to do that. And in the Europa League, we're not going to do that either. So for me, what it's worth is, okay, let's really make this, like Sam said, a project. Let's bring in kids who are going to really understand this system and be cultured throughout the system for the next 2 to 3 years. And then in 2 years' time, like what Arteta's done in a 4 or 5 year process, because he didn't take 2 years. He finished 8th place in his second year, and he won an FA Cup in his first year. But we won't speak about that. I want us in 4 years' time to have players who are then now ready molded in the mentality, in the shape of mind to go for a title. Next season, we are not going to do that. So there's no point in us trying to go for it. I will be happy if we finish. Me personally, I'll be happy if we finish 8th and win the Carabao Cup. That to me would show a lot more progress than finishing 5th, winning nothing, and looking at it again saying, well, how further have we come to actually being successful? Not that much. Yeah, we've jumped 3 positions. That's great, but we won nothing. Man United jumped 5 positions lower and won an FA Cup. And you go and ask them, some Man United fans, what they think of this season, and they'll tell you we had a great season because they beat 2 of their rivals to do it as well. So for me, trophy is the only thing that matters, and we're not set up right now to be competing in a domestic trophy level system. We aren't.
Sid, do you think we've got the squad to win a trophy next season? Currently,
I think we can. I think we can win a trophy. But again, it depends on, obviously, yes, that Carabao Cup, everyone says he made a mistake, and he admitted it as well that he made a mistake. But City game, we didn't do anything. So now, I don't know, is it down to the manager? Is it down to the players? But that Man City game in the Cup, we were shit. Absolutely poor. And yes, it took a mistake in the 90th minute for City to win the game. But City weren't any better, but we were shit. We seriously need to.
It took a foul.
Yeah, took a foul for them to win. But we were never going to win that game, Sean, right? We was both there, and we weren't going to win that game, were we?
Where was Son? 7,000 miles away, playing for his country.
Yeah, but I think we've got players that can win as a cup, yeah, or even get to the final, because you know what happens when we get to the finals, right? But I think we could potentially win a cup. But again, it all depends. It's all ifs and buts, isn't it? It depends on where we are in the league. But it shouldn't really matter where you are in the league, what position you are. You go and play to win that cup. Next season now, with that new system, the Carabao Cup's going to change. So the big teams are not going to play each other in the 3rd round. However, they'll do everything in their powers to team up the big teams in round 4. That's what they'll do. So if we give it 100%, go out to win from the start, put out the strongest teams, then I think we can. Man United's a prime example, man. Look at what they've done. They beat Liverpool on the way, which nobody giving them a chance. And then Man City in the final. It's a one-off game. Anything's possible. And they proved it. So, and everybody...
They also beat Coventry and Newport County.
Yes. But
you need a bit of luck. Obviously, to win any competition, you need a bit of luck. But okay, so this is how I would look at it. And I'm going to say this. The Carabao Cup should be the priority trophy because it's the first trophy to be won. And how I would look at it, based on a team, a club that hasn't had that success for as long as we had, why are we almost glossing over the fact that we can skip that, not play our strongest team because we're looking towards a league? In a league that we know we're not going to win in all likelihood, my opinions. If you've got a cup game on the Wednesday and you've got a league game on the Saturday, you don't have to play your strongest team on that Saturday in a league where you can win them other games somewhere else down the line and still be in that top 6 to 8. I guarantee Tottenham would, if they play like that, would still be in the top 6 to 8 by resting 1 or 2 players in anticipation for the game on that Wednesday, which could be the Carabao Cup 3rd round. Then you've got the 4th, whatever it is, 3, maybe 4 games to get to a final. If you play your strongest team based on the fact that Liverpool got to the final and won it with kids, it was kids, it wasn't their first team. They spattered it around with a few players in there, but they primarily played kids and they had a few injury problems this season. Yes, they've got the mentality. Yes, they're Liverpool. They're not Spurs. But they took a path to say, right, you know what? We've got this many competitions to play this year. We can't play our best team in every single one, but we're going to prioritize certain things. But they can do, because that's what they did. They did well in the league. They didn't do so well in the Europa, but they did all right. We can't do that. There's no justification or any evidence to suggest that that's what we will do and get success from it. So make some changes towards your mentality to win that trophy. That being the easiest one. I'd be very, very, very happy if we got to the final of the Carabao Cup, but we were languishing down in 8th or 10th in February. I wouldn't have a problem. People say, oh, well, that's all right. You can say that now. But what happens when it gets there? Well, I've seen it happen before. I've seen it so many times before in my lifetime as a Spurs fan. Why would I not be okay with that now? I want success. I don't understand how that's so hard for everybody to understand. We want to have a trophy. Now, whether that is the Carabao Cup, oh, it's the Carabao Cup, we should be winning. No, we shouldn't. No, we shouldn't. We should be looking at Carabao Cup as being everything to us if we can win it. Everything. Because as Darry said, it changes your mentality from a club that almost did it to a club that says they have won. And people will clown you, say, look what fucking West Ham did winning that Europa Conference League. Look what's done for them. They clowning us as such, but they at least had the mentality to win a trophy that they could win. They didn't take the piss out of it. David Moyes didn't take the piss. He fucking won it.
This comment from David as well, though. You know what you were saying about players resting them. You don't have to rest the players prior to a League Cup game. You win the league match and then you put the strongest team out in the cup game comfortably. If you're winning, then you take them off to rest them. They're professional footballers. They should be able to play a game on a Saturday or a Sunday and then on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. And if you've, no disrespect, but if you've got somebody from the Championship, League 1 or League 2 in the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup, you put your strongest team out, you win that game comfortably, then you start taking the players off to give them a respite to bring on other players. But we don't seem to do that. We don't want to do that, do we?
Like I said, I'm willing to give Ange 100% benefit of the doubt for the Fulham game. Even I was saying we should be able to beat a Fulham team with a weaker squad. I underestimated how shit our team was. I really do think our team isn't as good as it is. With this second purge, like Sean said, of this team, I'll be able to have a better idea on, first of all, how deep it is to actually be able to compete on four different levels, 4 different stages. And second of all, to see how competitive it will be. So for me, the drop-off from Emerson to Porro cannot happen. It cannot happen. And if you're going to have a drop-off like that in quality, I would rather it be an academy player who's going to show, the willingness and the effort to fight for the badge, even though they may not be the best player in the world. And when I say that, I mean examples like Dane Scarlett. Don't think Dane Scarlett is amazing. I don't think he's going to be a generational talent, what everyone says. But when he comes on the pitch, he works hard and he does impact the team when he comes on the pitch. So I've got time for players like that. Richarlison as well. I've got time for Richarlison like that. But again, the reason why I want to potentially get rid of Richarlison is because of, being able to reinvest that into better players. However, if Richarlison stays, I know Richarlison is going to give that 100% effort, even if he might not have the best game. My thing is now is, okay, let's see what we can do at the start of this season. Let's see what happens. We're not going to get a 10-game unbeaten streak head start like we did this season. I don't think we're necessarily going to have that run of form at the start of the season. But if we can hit the ground running, then like you said, Sam, you may be able to, and I don't want to call it sacrificing points because you should never Ange Postecoglou will never think like that, and too right on him. You should never want to sacrifice points. But if you're willing to, if you play a strong team like you said on Tuesday, and you've got a team on Saturday where it's a mid-table team, a team that you might be able to potentially bring players off the bench at 45, I would prioritize the cup game.
Why do we do it in reverse, though? Why do we do it in reverse? You just said we shouldn't sacrifice points because of that. But why do we do it in reverse? Why do we sacrifice cups for points?
Yeah, but no, that's unfortunate.
Because we're chasing top four. So that's what I'm saying.
That's happened. But I'm not counting Lassie again. Fulham, I'm giving Ange a let off. I will give Ange a let off. If you want to crucify him for that, that's fine. Me personally, Fulham game, you can have off his first cup game, and he said afterwards in a press conference he should have played a strong team. I think he acknowledged that. FA Cup, you come against Man City, not really much you can do there. Like, okay, we didn't play great in the game. We might have been able to get a point. When I might have been able to get a goal later on and maybe win the game. But again, coming up against Man City is what it is. But so it's a fresh start now.
It's a one-off 90 minutes of game. That's a cup game. You should, like Man United cup game final. You should go out there. You don't know what's going to happen, like you just said.
But what I'm saying is when we look back at it and we think, okay, we lost to Man City, we're not crucifying the players or the manager for going out to Man City in the cup. Do you know what I mean? If it was Coventry, like the situation that almost happened for Man United, if Man United went out to Coventry, or if we went out to a team like Coventry, we'd go mad.
Also, in the Man City game, we were without Son, Sarr, and Bissouma.
Yeah,
3 of our better players from last season. Right.
I can 100% look at the cup games and say 100%.
I don't think there's a disgrace in losing that game when 3/11 of your best team are not available to you because of international commitments.
Definitely, and that's why this season it's going to be a massive marker for me, the cup games and how we approach those cup games on how much. Again, I'm speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for anybody else, any Spurs fans, and how much faith I have in Ange personally. Because if he takes those games seriously and he really goes to attack those games and win those games, and we go out to a Liverpool, a Chelsea, whatever, I can accept that. If we
sorry, Darius, before you continue, I just want to get to this comment here that Raheem's, because it's probably a relevant and valid comment. Which team will a player go to? Carabao Cup winners or CL team? So I'll ask that question.
A player who's let's get. I'll say this really quickly, and then you guys can say. I'm done with this bullshit. That's a bullshit comment to me because I don't want a player who just wants to play for a Champions League team. Get the hell out of here. I want you to play for Tottenham first and foremost. So I'd rather, me personally, somebody who wants a Carabao Cup. I want somebody who wants to play for Tottenham. That's all I'll say to that. I don't want somebody who wants to play for a Champions League team. You can go and find a Turkish team.
The answer to that is Maddison. Maddison had the opportunity to go to Newcastle, who were in the Champions League. He came to Tottenham.
Yeah.
And his public pronouncement
is...
He based that on speaking to Ange Postecoglou.
Yeah, respect to Raheem. I understand what you're saying, but I think that's a bit BS. I don't want any player who doesn't want to join Tottenham to join Tottenham.
Plus the fact that... Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, you ask a player, would you rather have a Carabao Cup medal or just participate in a Champions League?
Exactly.
A medal? What? You're going to go to a Champions League team just to participate in it and get knocked out?
You could potentially max play 5 games, 6 games.
Exactly, it's bullshit.
Let's have it real here. If any player comes to our club based on the fact they just want to play Champions League, because we've had Champions League. Remember, we've been above Arsenal a number of seasons and been making this top 4. So we've been getting to the Champions League and we've been getting players. You tell me. The significance of the players that we've got in that have been so much better than the players that we haven't when we haven't made the Champions League, I can't see. Ndombeles, you can reel off all them names that we've got players and we win in the Champions League. It didn't make that much difference to us because the fact is the mentality to win the competition isn't there. Top 4 is not a trophy. Someone made a very good point. The reason why this club, and I'm not going to just put it all down to the ball, but there's things are beginning to appear now that shows me there's a pattern to this, is if you do get success, let's say you did win a league title one season or a Champions League, as fans, are we just going to say, hold up our hands and say, oh, that's it now, thank you very much, we've won a Champions League, I don't want to see anything more in success-wise for another 30-odd years? No,
I'm
every
I'm
fan
not. I'm
turns
not. But
round.
I'll be very calm for a long time if we win the Champions League.
That's us. That's
I'll
probably
be
us.
very chill for a long time.
Maybe I have to caveat that because it's us. I'll probably be the same. But do you know what I'm saying? The fact is,
No, I
you've
hear
got
what
that
you're saying.
success. You want more. Manchester City didn't win 2 in a row and say, it's all right. Don't worry about that third one. We've already got them. They didn't win 3 in a row and said, that's cool, not a problem. They still went to win it because that's the mentality. Again, slightly different. But that's the world of professional sports. If you're at that sort of level where you want to compete and you want to win, you don't want to win it once, you want to continue doing it. That's why you have these multiple winners. That's why you have the Lewis Hamiltons. That's why you have all these peers and teams that do all these things, because they are starved of success. They want to be, sorry, what I'm saying, they want to have success all the time. They don't want to just do it once off and that's it. Go and sit down and bloody, put my bloody slippers on and pipe. No, but we seem to have that. That's what I think that we have. We get to a top 4, we get, oh, that's cool. You know what I mean? We don't then go and push on. We should have doing that from 2019. So the history is there that we do not want to push further because it will cost you. Success costs. The likes of Man United, it costs them, but they're willing to change their manager every single year. Chelsea, they were willing to do whatever they can, cook books, because they know what that success is to them and the fans. We're starved of it, so we can't make the same sort of comparisons. But I don't want to keep us seeing us make signings that's just going to literally keep us in this zone of top 6, top 4, top 8, no real trophies. What's the point? What is the point? I don't see the point.
Makes Daniel Levy more money, doesn't it? It makes him more money. But it is what it is, isn't it? At the end of the day,
I want to reiterate to you, Sean. I don't want Anjal. I think he is the right man. Given all of the managers that could be potentially available, I wouldn't want him out. I think he is the right man. However, what I have to think about is, and again, this next 4 or 5 years of the Premier League may be very different with, the potential of Pep Guardiola leaving. Liverpool may not, climb back up to the heights as they once were at. Newcastle may not be this forever team, forever powerful team. Now they've got this Saudi ownership. I do think there is an opportunity to potentially, and I'm not saying win the league, but there's an opportunity to potentially be in and about that conversation for the next 3-4 years after next season. I want us to now not rush this process. I want this to be a process. I hate that word. I don't like using that word. I think it's been coined way too many times now by, Arsenal fans, whatever. But I do want this. I would rather us take our time with it and not trying to think about, winning the league now. I don't know if that's Andrew's priority now. I don't know. I probably have to watch a few more press conferences. But I want us to take our time with this. If we really do take our time with this, we can change the mentality of this club. Ange can bring in these youngsters who want to win, who know exactly what he wants. And I do think we can potentially look a lot more threatening. But as much as the board needs to change, and we all agree with that, I will personally say again, I will say this, I want to see a little bit of change from Ange. I don't think he's been perfect. I think he's been far from it, but he's also not been terrible. So I do need to see a little bit of change. If we're going to try and be successful, I think we need to see change from the manager and from the board. Whether that happens, I don't know.
Top 4 is a huge trophy to our owners because it brings them huge finances, but will not spend to attempt to win it because it will swallow up all that profit. Let's not kid ourselves. 2019, we got lucky to a degree.
The run?
Champions League, I think.
You need luck. You need luck to
win anything. But if you've got the best players, it helps negate that luck somewhat. David Clark, Paul Maddison isn't injury prone. He's kicked from pillar to post, so there's a big difference. I live in Leicester. I watched him close up, so I know. So he's saying that, he's not an injury prone player. He's just been fouled a lot, which is fair.
The most fouled player in the Premier League, by the way.
The most fouled player, yep. And that will have some degree to do with injuries. I think, look at Jack Grealish. He's one of the most foul players, and he seems to be quite injured a lot. But again, then what we then don't have is we don't have a Doku, So I'm not saying that we're going to have a Jack Grealish to a Doku. The differences between our player and the next player coming in is going to be a bit of a bigger gap. But it's also the fact that I think we've been doing this so often on the same sort of policy process. We got, and Sid, you know his name. Forget him. I keep forgetting Croatian who played for us at the
Modric.
Not Modric.
Chaluka.
Well, it's just recently.
Perisic.
Perisic.
Oh, how can you stop forgetting the goat's name, man? We love Perisic. We love Perisic, man.
But that mentality, I think he's probably, obviously, in hindsight now, he's a little bit too old. But again, you bring in that sort of player, I'd be happy to see if you're going to pay money for a player, and he was expensive. He was expensive.
What was he on? 185?
Something like 170.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he was expensive.
He was a free transfer, wasn't he?
He was a free transfer, yeah.
Free transfer. He's a winner, proven winner, blah, 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 blah. And there was enough in there to kind of say, okay, you didn't play as much, and that was a disappointment. You didn't obviously help Sessegnon through, because nobody can help Sessegnon through. I thought that was one of the reasons why they brought him in, to help Sessegnon to improve. He's not. So there are some players that, as Sean said, need to go. We have to allow that process for them players to go. But if we are going to do that, what's the interim going to be? Because we're not going to go and get out, as the manager's already said, we're not going to go out and buy 2 or 3 50, 60, 70 million pound players. That's not going to happen. But maybe we're going to spend 100 million pounds over 4 or 5 players. I don't know. But this is what I'm saying. That process, we've done that. £100 on Bale, 7 players came in. £100 on Harry Kane. I know that money's not been spent but we've seen the likes of Solomon come in.
Well, we got Madison, and I class that Kane money as Madison and Johnson, really. If you think about it.
Of those 2 players, one of them was injured for quite a bit of the season, and the other one cost us £50 million nearly, and there's still question marks about him. So the money wasn't spent.
You do have but the thing is with Brennan Johnson, I've got a lot of time for Brennan Johnson, because I don't think it's necessarily. I just think it's a confidence thing. I think he's a player who just plays off confidence. So I've got a lot of time for Brennan Johnson. 10 assists in the league is no mean feat. Do you know what I mean?
He's not going to be any better than Mbeumo is at Brentford.
The other thing in Johnson's defence, Darius, I would say, is that he didn't go through the pre-season with us. He joined
true as well. Yeah, that is true as well.
And that applies. I'm sorry to sound like a broken record. That applies to Werner as well. He didn't go through pre-season with us, and I think that's important. You historically, you can see players who go through a pre-season with us assimilate into our team much better than those that turn up late in the window. It's been one of our problems. We say we don't do our business early enough, and part of that is because when we do late business, unless they're exceptional players like Van der Vaart or whatever, they don't assimilate quick enough, And I think there's lessons to be learned. My last contribution to today's stream is that the window doesn't open until June the 14th. There's a
when does it close?
It closes on September the 2nd.
Cool.
So it doesn't open until the 14th of June. There's a separate window because of FFP on the 30th of June. There's going to be a lot of players available because people are scared witless. This is the last season that PSR and FFP are going to apply. It changes next season to a salary, kind of a salary cap, you could say. How much money you bring into the club. Well, again, that advantages us. We're making how much per game? Our stadium is in that case a money generator. When you've got Bournemouth Stadium, which is 10,000, and now to 60,000, it makes no sense. I think down the road, I see us. I never want to do this. This is making me feel sick to actually say this, right? But compare us to where Arsenal's development is. When they were rebuilding, they didn't spend 100 million. They did spend 50 million on Ben White. Now they bought him as a centre back, and they've converted him into a very competent right back. These things happen. We may be at that stage where we're having to bin players. We're having to get rid of our Ozil the club mascot for Galatasaray, and Napoli last season.
It's so crazy. He's won 2 leagues since he's been shipped off on loan. I don't get that. That.
Well, his contribution is minimal to both of them, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, we've got to get rid of our Pepe, whoever that may be. You can pick any player you want. We've got to get rid of our Aubameyang. Now, whether that involves just paying them off, that's another. If we pay off Ndombele, which seems to be the only way we're going to get rid of the brother, we're going to.
You'll get a lot of money, won't he, Sean? We will
burn £10 million. Where does that £10 million come from? £10 million. Think of that.
It could come from not loaning Werner. That's where it could come from.
But we need to rebuild our squad.
No, I hear you.
We've got two very fine balances here: rebuilding and clearing out dead wood, players that were bought for previous managers, don't work for the current system, and are just hanging around creating a bad smell.
Yeah.
So it's a fine balance. I think we need to calm our jets. Me too. It's the 31st. It's the 31st of May. The window isn't open for another 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, to the Spurs fan base, you need to develop the positive mentality of a Manchester United, which allows their kids to develop the positive mentality of Liverpool, which allows their kids to develop and win trophies. I mean, I have to say that Carabao Cup was an incredible.
That's a great achievement.
Result
both United and Liverpool's trophies this season were incredible. I have to say.
But we'll need luck. You don't want to draw a London rival in the 3rd round of the Carabao Cup at their ground.
Well, you'll get them in the 4th round next season.
No, because it was the 2nd round this year. We get into the 3rd round this year, so we already made progress, and we haven't even got the fixtures yet. So look at it that way.
I'm going to read
this way.
The reason why I got a bit irate, and I have to calm down as well. You're right, Sean. It's not about getting irate about things that haven't happened
passion,
yet.
Guys. It's passion. That's all it is.
What made me even more vexed was seeing Ten Hag with that grin on his face at the end of 90 minutes last week, Saturday. The fact that's
what nobody I win trophies.
And that's what they said. We win trophies. We can be as bad as we've been. Now, a comparative season for Spurs being in 8th place for what Man United finished in 8th place is no comparison. That's just not even in their stratosphere. That's what we've been living with for X amount of years. So we're kind of right. We finished 8th recently. Man United is like, my God, the world's ended. But what did they do? Because of that, they won that trophy against all odds with teenagers in the squad. Yes, they're talented teenagers, but they were still youngsters who were given an opportunity. Nobody heard about Mainu before the beginning of this season. Not many people are going to say he's going to be playing for England or going to be going to the Euros. Why? Because we didn't hear about it. But when he was given an opportunity, players with that right mentality, with the right talent levels, will show you something. Okay, I can understand. But I think you're right in what you said, Sean, about us not giving them enough chances. When they don't play well, you maybe get onto their back. But that's going to be the case for players that don't do well anyway. The likes of Ryan Sessegnon, we don't give him enough time. Davinson Sanchez, we don't give him enough time. He's gone off and won a league title. He's gone off and won a league title.
That's crazy.
Eric Dyer, I know we've clowned him, and rightly so. He had to move on, but he was playing in a team that got to the semi-finals of the bloody Champions League.
And was important, by the way, as well. Man of the match.
Important member in the way that they played, because they had to play a certain way with him. They didn't leave him exposed at the back. They didn't leave him. Tuchel didn't leave. He played sometimes with a back three, but they would never left him exposed when he's just got players running at him left, right, and center, because you know that Dyer's not going to be the best. So you have to adapt to situations. You have to get the players in that are intelligent enough. I don't see enough intelligence in our players to give me that confidence that next season, all right, I know you're not playing that well, but can you do a job? Kulusevski's been given the roles playing on the right, the left, and through the centre in terms of that. He's probably one of the most intelligent players we've got, but he lacks certain physical attributes, pace being one of them. So why would we continue to keep playing on the right in a system which relies on pace? Does that make sense? That's why we got Timo Werner in, because he's got pace. So that's why I question those things. We continue to play players in that position in a system that he's not going to get the best out of him. That's all I can question.
He didn't have it. To be fair with him, he didn't really have a choice last season. Injuries and stuff. I'll give him. That's why I'm saying this season to me is the bigger season than last season. Last season, like, when we're in the moment, it's like, okay, cool, we're 11 games unbeaten. This is amazing. Then we go to November and it's like, oh my God, this is hell. Then you think, oh, what are we going to expect? This season for me, this is a season where I'm like, okay, cool. What are we going to do? Are we going to try and just do the same thing we do every single game, or are we going to try and, are we going to be more ruthless? Are our strikers going to improve over the preseason because of Ange? I don't think it's his fault if they don't. So are we going to get players who are going to come into the team and impact us? And then those players who did start for us last year, a lot of them, I'll be real with you, I don't mind if they come off the bench. I've been said this for a long time. My issue with a lot of our players from last season are that they shouldn't really be starting for us if we wanted to get to the level that we want to be at. So let's just see. Like Sean said, patience.
I want you all to kind of. I'm just going to read out the squad. Sid, you're the first who's going to be able to respond to that, because obviously we've signed Brandon Austin now. That excited me. Brandon Austin has been signed out. Oh, fantastic. Vicario, Forster, Brandon Austin, Alfie Whiteman, Christian Romero, Mickey van der Ven, Raddy Dragonson, Joe Roden. Remember him? Joe Roden, he's still to come back. Yafet Tanganga, he might potentially come back. Destiny Udogie.
He's gone.
Is he gone?
He's gone.
Millwall
signed him, yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well done. Sergio Reguilon, is he been signed by anybody? Is he
No.
potentially?
No. God, don't know. Forgot about him as well.
Ben Davies, Pedro Porro, Emerson Royal, Yves Basuma, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, Oliver Skip, Papa Matassar, Rodrigo Bentancur, Ryan Sessegnon, James Madison, Giovanni Lo Celso, Heung-min Sun, Brian Hill, Manus Solomon, Dejan Kulusevski, Brennan Johnson, Richarlison, Timo Werner. That's our squad. That's an exhaustive squad. So take out Yafet Tanganga. There's probably a couple under them. But that's a big squad. So if we're looking at, we've got to trim the squad to get players in, we've got a lot of players there to get rid of. And that's not even mentioning Ndombele. Why is he not even on this list?
Spence is not even on there.
Spence is not on that list as well.
Phillips is not on that list.
I missed Ashley. I should have said Ashley.
Parrott.
Divine.
That's what I mean.
There's a lot of players. Bergval coming back.
Yeah.
Well, just coming
back. Coming in.
Again, if we're, I'll sit first. How are we going to do the business to get rid of these players without literally giving some of these away in order to get the players in? If we are going to balance out with PSR, financial fair play, the rest of it, you tell me, Mr. Sid. And Darius.
We've had Conte, we've had Mourinho, we've had Conte, we've had Nuno, we've got Ange Postecoglou. Postecoglou's probably done the best out of a lot of them by trying to get rid of some of them players, which he did last season. Now, the rumours are we're getting rid of a few players. Roden won't come back. He's gonna go. Someone's gonna sign him because a few clubs are after him. Tanganga's gone, and Ndombele, they've got to get see you later kind of thing. I know it's going to be hard, but they got to go. Spence and all them lot. You've gonna have Postecoglou's gonna have to have that conversation and say to Daniel Levy, they gotta go. They've got to go. Don't want them. They're not coming back in my team. I've got no plans I've got no plans for them. I don't want them. I need them gone so I can get players in. If it means getting rid of them for peanuts, then so be it. We're not going to be able to buy contracts out like David Clark said. If Ndombele's getting 200 grand a week and he says, you're not going to terminate my contract, then there's nothing by law you can do about it. So, you've got to, Daniel Levy's going to have to take a hit. Simple as, whether it's a 1970s Stock Aitken and Waterman or whoever he wants to take a hit, but he's going to have to take a hit, right? And that's the only way we're going to get rid of these players to get more players in. So the ball is, yes, it's in Angie's court. Angie's already probably told him, I don't want half of these players. Daniel Levy then will have to sit down and get rid. Because that list that you just read out, man, we don't need Optimus Prime now. So he can go. Yeah, even Alfie Whiteman, I think we can say to him, see you later, because we need a solid backup keeper. I don't think Austin's a backup keeper that we could, I don't know if you guys agree or not, but if
I'm
God
just
forbid
looking down this.
Vicario,
Sorry, Sid, just to add some context. Just looking
If
down,
Austin isn't a backup keeper, why have we signed him to a 5-year contract?
yeah,
that
and
not
that-
5 years. It was a
What I was gonna
5-year
say-
deal.
5-year
2029.
contract.
what I was going to say to you,
2029.
Sean, was if
Oh my
Vicario,
God.
God forbid anything happens to him, got injured, is Austin the man to then come in? If you know what I mean.
We don't know.
You don't know. Yeah, I guess you don't know.
This is the thing again. Play him in the cups. We should have done this season. Give Vicario a
But
rest. But
If Austin had anything
but
about
we
him,
played Forster, who was number 2 in the cup.
can
Optimus
I-
Prime.
Can I just
Optimus
say
Prime.
about Austin? If he had anything about him and he was that good, I'm not to say I'm advocating that, but you would imagine that he would have angled to leave the club to get first team football. Because as a goalkeeper, you're unlikely.
Is he a Tottenham
unless
boy though?
He is
I
Tottenham through.
Yeah.
and through.
He's
Yeah, he's a
And
Tottenham boy. I thought he was a
You know
Tottenham
how
boy.
much Whiteman gets from us?
So
Whiteman gets £500,000 a year.
well, on our keepers,
Ooh, to do
keepers-
barely anything for a training program. I don't mind that. To
Right.
be
So
fair.
listen to the contract.
And he was born in Northumberland Park, so don't tell me he doesn't love this club. You know what I mean? And wouldn't you do it? I would.
Of course you would. Of course you would.
Hang around for.
But isn't that part of the problem? Isn't that part of the problem, though?
But has he
Yeah,
not done
but
it?
is it impacting on the squad, Sam?
Right.
A goalkeeper.
Listen. Vicario's contract is until 2028, but then Forster, his contract ends June 30th next year. Brandon Austin, who just re-signed, is 2029. But Alfie Whiteman's, again, his contract runs out next year. So if we didn't sign him, we'd be looking for a keeper anyway, because we'd only have Vicario. So we had to sign him, because both them other two end their contracts next year. You're not re-signing Forster, and Alfie Whiteman, they don't seem to want him anyway. So again, we had to, unless we were going out looking for a keeper. So it's not like that's great business. It's forced upon us in a certain sense, because we would be without a keeper next season. Vicario is definitely the number one, but you need a backup number two. If Brandon Austin's comfortable being that backup number two, so be it. But we're
Well, yeah. I mean, are the club comfortable with that? I would say a 5-year contract suggests to me that they are comfortable.
Yeah.
How old is he?
25.
What? Oh yeah, he's definitely our backup keeper. Yeah. Why would you not? Like Sean said, why would you sign a 25-year-old to a 5-year deal?
Exactly.
Unless he's just happy to hang around and be a third choice, and you get another one.
I think that they've challenged him. Make yourself number 2.
Fair.
And you know, I mean, look at that post-season friendly. He played 2/3 of it.
Yeah.
All right, he was maybe at fault for the goal, but you know, I would say that was down to defensive shortcomings more than him. But you know, I mean, we're talking fractions of a club that made £500 million last year, in the last financial accounts.
The question that we need to ask is how many of them players have been told that they're surplus to requirement next season? Because we
don't know. It could be Ben Davis. It could be Forster. It could be, you know.
Well, I'm looking at the contracts in terms of when they end. So, Christian Romero, if you can see that, I'll make it a little bit larger on the screen. June 27. Nicky van der Ven, 29. Don't have to really worry about that. Ragason's contracted to June 30, 2030. Joe Rogan, they're probably not going to do anything much with him because his contract runs out next year. So if they want to get rid of him, they're likely to run that down. So you're not likely to push him out the door if you can't get anybody to sign him. You probably send him out on loan again. But again, Ashley Phillips, 2028. Yafet Tanga, again, next season. Udogi, we forget about him. But then there's a spate of players here, Region and Ben Davis, both of them next year. So in terms of giving them away this year or trying to get rid of them, it's difficult to get any value for them because a lot of teams will say, oh, well, they're free next year. Ben Davis probably not so much because of his age, but Sergio Reguilon, if I was a team in Spain and I didn't have the money to outlay now, I'll take him on loan with an option, just like what we do. I'll take him on loan, no option to really, because he's going to be free next year. So we might not be able to get rid of these players as easily as we thought. Emerson Royal got 2 years left, 2026. Basuma, 2026. Højbjerg, again, next year. The age that he is, what is he, 28?
He might demand a move though, because he probably wants to play.
He probably does, and that I respect him for that.
The talk is that that they're just trying to do the deal with Atletico Madrid. So I mean,
Oh, that would be perfect for him. Oh, that would be perfect.
It would suit him. So I mean, he's going. It's
yeah. But what I'm saying
so
is,
I've already considered him left. Thank you for your service.
Yeah, Simeone will absolutely love him.
He would. Yeah. But it's the value of these players. We're not going to get a lot of value for him because obviously it's a year left. Yes, you'll take the wages off, and that's what we should be looking at. That's why I said the wages compound these things, because he's not on a low wage, Højbjerg. So let's say we didn't get rid. He has to stay till next year. Then Oliver Skip's probably on a low wage, but again, contract till 27. Papi Sarr, we can forget him, is 2030. Bentancur, 2026. Sessegnon.
Okay, question. Do you think we'll give him an extension?
Who?
Rodrigo Bentancur.
No.
26 years of age.
I think so too, Sean. I don't think we're going to extend his contract.
The rumor, I mean, obviously it's the press and it's, the window hasn't opened to the 14th, all the caveats in the world. The rumor is that should someone come in with a reasonable offer, that they wouldn't stand in his way to go.
I heard the same about Basuma as well.
Same about Basuma, yeah.
And again, it makes sense. Basuma's 27, and again, these things. It's only when I look at them in black and white that I actually think, Jesus Christ, what are we? Basuma's 27. He's 27. He should be now in his prime. Peak years. But he's inconsistent still. Not to say that he has.
We got a third of a season out of him last year.
Literally.
No, actually a quarter of a season, I'd say.
Yeah,
I'm on his case as well. And this is what I'm saying, Pete. I'm not on Timo, but I'm on a lot of players' cases here. But we can't really do much about Basuma at this moment in time. We can't.
Yes, we can. We can if we actually invest. I've said we needed to get an elite defensive midfielder. I don't think we will.
Let me just consider this list here. Sorry.
We should be.
When they've got their little Tissot signs by them, it's because they're crocked. So Basuma's crocked at the moment. So is Sessegnon. June, his contract ends in 30 days' time. And let's hope that we're not seeing him.
Who's that?
I'm not Ryan Sessegnon. Contract ends 2024.
Oh, yeah, it's already been said that he's leaving on a free transfer. So,
bye.
Yay.
But Maddison, 2028. Giovanni Lo Celso, another player that's been knocking around at Spurs for X amount of time. Managers don't know what to do with him. He sometimes has a good and he sometimes plays fantastically well for Argentina, but somehow doesn't want to play as well for Spurs. Whether or not that's down to him as a player,
that's not surprising.
So, but again, his contract doesn't end till next year. So again, if you're looking to get monetary value for him as a player that could be sold, because he does have potential, he's one of the mainstays for Argentina when he's fit. Again, I'll be like, in these times where you're not going to really want to spend loads of money, all right, I'll wait till January, pre-sign him then. Makes no sense any team coming in for these players. Heung-min Son, our top player, his contract ends next year.
Yeah, we've already optioned him for another year.
Okay, Brian Hill,
definitely
2026, Solomon 2028. So again, this is about Solomon's not played, we can get rid of him. Well, do so.
Yeah, but you'll get it's 100% profit with Solomon, isn't it? Well, not 100%, but you didn't pay a transfer.
You still got to find someone to buy him. You still got to find someone to buy him. The teams that are going to be interested.
He might be a PR nightmare at the moment.
Much so, very much so. But the teams that like to buy him are going to be the likes of Fulham, who sold him to us, not the likes of Bayern Munich, who bought Eric Dyer. That's just my personal opinion. So it's going to be more difficult to get rid of him personally, because you're going to have to.
Well, I mean, he played 5 games for Fulham and he played less than 5 games for us over the last 2 seasons. The best ability is availability.
Jeez. Wow, that's bad. That's bad. That's really, really bad.
And to be fair, he never convinced me in pre-season. I was,
You know what? So true, Sean.
He was like an Israeli Brian Hill.
It's not. Sean's not lying. Sean's not lying. The only reason we gave him a pass, or the only reason we didn't get onto him more, is because he didn't cost us anything. I know we shouldn't care about how much he cost.
Why are we signing him to 2028? Why sign him to 2028? I know the player probably had a negotiation and said, but if you've not proven yourself anywhere else, really, at most a 3-year contract. You can take the hit, even if you got him for free. Even if because the reason they give him contracts
the year after, don't you? You sell him the year after.
You can sell him, so you don't have where you're less than 2 years. That's why they put him on these contracts.
Well,
but it can work the other way.
On Solomon, we bought him on his form for Shakhtar in the Champions League.
True,
I think.
And he was doing all right for Fulham. I won't lie to you. He was, even though he played like barely any games, in what I remember him doing, he was okay. He was direct, but like it's no justification for giving him a 5-year deal. Do you know what I mean? I'm not trying to justify that. So I think we should get rid of him.
If you're a player, I don't think you go anywhere, a new club, without a 5-year contract.
100%. What's his wage? His weekly wage?
I don't even
Do we know that?
I
won't even.
Mid-40s, I think.
Oh, that's nothing then. Yeah, he wasn't really a risk, was he?
Yeah, but you got him signed up for
other than it's damaged our relationship with Shakhtar Donetsk. So there's a player there that we quite like, but do you think that chairman's going to deal with leaving?
Oh, because of what happened with the whole owing them money. Oh, yeah. I get you now. Yeah, so, Levy, he swindled them, didn't he?
Well, he technically he didn't. You know, the Ukrainian players or foreign players in the Ukrainian league were allowed to leave their clubs because of the situation in the country.
Yeah.
So Fulham exploited it first. We just exploited it further.
Okay, understandable. So Shakhtar, 2 middle fingers up to us right now, then.
Yeah, and the thing is, Shakhtar are a club historically that used to take Brazilian talent.
They generate,
and develop them. You know, so.
Douglas Costa, Willian, there's a lot of them.
Yeah. So there's pissing other clubs off is not a good thing to do in this business, you know.
Definitely, I agree with you wholeheartedly there, Sean.
5 games.
He wasn't worth burning that bridge, was he?
Not for 5 games. That's what he played last season. 5 games, scored 2 goals.
Wow.
Yeah.
He didn't score. I think it was.
It was assist. Sorry. There was assist in green. It's not even goals. He scored. Oh,
I was going to say I don't remember.
God.
So what? So Timo Werner.
Look, Sean. As it stands, we can't really turn down Timo Werner. You're not wrong.
We can't turn him down.
No.
Because this is the proof.
As it stands, No. We can't turn Timo Werner down as it stands.
What's the priority? Getting rid of players or signing players?
The season before,
that's a tough one.
Manuel Solomon played 19 games. He had 4 assists, no goals, nothing. Just nothing.
Sam, did you hear that? That stumped me there, Sean. What's more of a priority? Getting rid or signing?
Oh.
I'll personally say it's easier to sign than get rid. So I'm saying get rid.
When you stack players up,
we're in the Ozil, Aubameyang, Pepe.
Yeah,
window.
Pepe. Yeah.
The problem with stacking players, as we're doing, is it's the harmony in the squad. You can't have all them players training if they're no. If you think of it yourself, you just know you're there as a number because they can't get rid of you. What's your attitude going to be like?
Got to keep them away from.
Regardless of whether you say you're going to be 100%. Regardless of whether you say you're going to be 100% professional or whatever.
Boys and our kids, our wonderful kids.
Yeah, true. Actually, what the hell? What am I thinking?
That's why you have to get rid of them on loan. You can't.
We might have to pay some people. You might be right. We might have to pay some people to leave.
You have to pay them off. You have to pay some. You can't just keep loaning out these players because teams will try and get you right down. They'll say, right, to get him out, you're going to have to pay half his wages. Or all these other things that they kind of do. So we're not in the best financial position. And then you're just going to have to wait till their contracts run down. So next year...
Not sure about that one, Deshaun.
What's happening? I'm going to get this comment up. What's this one?
Deshaun said that Solomon low-key better than Werner. I'm not sure about that one.
I don't know. I've not seen him play.
It's a mid-off. It's a battle of the bad, but I don't think I'll take Solomon, unfortunately.
Okay.
Oh my God!
I love Dino. God. He comes up. He dropped that. That's a mic drop if ever I saw one.
I think I'm going to have to revert to what I did. for Davison Sanchez and refer to him by number only. And even then, after a while, I gave Davison back his name. I gave him back his name after a while because he did prove to me a couple of times.
Yeah. There might be some numbers available next season. You know?
It's going to be
number 5.
There's going to be a number of players that are only going to be known by numbers. Anyway, right, your final thoughts. Give me your final thoughts. Like I said, I know it's been a very electrifying podcast, but this is what we do, people. We're all friends in the matter. We just think about things in different ways, and we want you to understand that as well. It's not about, oh, yes, like, it's not see some of these other podcasts. Oh, yes, that's good, that's great. Naming no names, but we're different here. Sean, final thoughts. I'm
happy with the acquisitions. Acquisitions if we count Brandon.
Oh God,
that we've made so far, and let's see what June the 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, all the way up to the 30th bring, which is the first window with the basket cases of United.
Oh, what your Forest and your Chelseas and your
Evertons and all those clubs have got to, because they have to comply with it, even though it's the last season of this particular regime. And let's see what that brings. And then obviously there's post June the 30th. But we want to get them in early. I want to see players in by our first friendly against Hearts. Oh, you're coming up to Scotland to see me?
Oh, might have to take a trip, Sam.
That's what I'm saying. Might have to do that indeed. Final thoughts then, Darius?
Yeah.
Sorry, you've been finished. Sean,
yeah, no, it's opinions are like arseholes. We've all got them. It just depends what comes out of them. So I just don't want people to start bumping their gums and getting so machinated that they lose sight of the bigger picture, which is that we've got a coach which fits what we need as a football club in a modern way. Maybe 58. He's not a Vincent Kompany who's just turned up at Bayern. That's a strange one. Anyway, but he's not a young. He's not, but he does play. He does play in a style which for a good section of last season, we enjoyed watching. And given, I'm almost deleting from November 2019 to last June. I'm almost deleting it because that was a horror show. I mean, the Nuno, the Conte, the Jose, that was just awful. Just awful to watch. We were awful to watch. We had one or two good nights, you know what I mean? And that's it. At least I felt I enjoyed engaging with watching Tottenham last year. And I'm going to do it again next season.
Darius?
Don't think I could really add much more on what Sean said. Add much more onto what Sean said, to be honest, because I kind of agree with a lot of what he said. I think we've got to be patient. I think if there wasn't any Euros this year or this summer, I think there'd be a lot of turmoil in the Spurs fan base. I think there'd be a lot of hair pulling in the Spurs fan base. But we've got to enjoy our summer as much as we are looking forward to seeing what next season holds for us. So to be fair with you, I'm taking it like Sean said, every day at a time. Get to one checkpoint, get to June the 14th, get to June the 30th, get to September, or whenever the season starts, August, and then get to September and see how it is. I think we will sign a few players. I have no idea what sort of quality, what level those players are going to be, and I have no idea how well some of these kids are going to integrate into this team if they do get an opportunity. So, like I said, a lot of stuff's just in the air, and we've just got to be a little bit patient about it and just sort of let's wait a couple months. The window's not even started yet. You're so right, Sean. The damn window's not even started yet, and we've signed 2 players. So that must be a good sign. That must be a good sign. I don't care if they were at that club already. It must be a good sign. So I'm gonna hold positive now until further notice. That's what I want.
And we have a player that a lot of people want at our favourite agency, CAA base.
Is that Eberici?
Eberici, and where is he at the moment? He's got James Maddison in his ear at the England camp.
Good. and he better continue that. Because
Exactly.
if I see that happen, that will change that's a sign that changes my opinion and changes my perspective on how we're gonna approach, the season and the stuff. So let's just, pump the brakes and let's see what happens.
So the biggest thing for me then is, and it's not even to do with the transfers and then all the rest of it. As much as people might not think, I am very much Angie. I don't want to change it. I don't want to see another cycle, because this will be another cycle. But what I want to happen is the board or somebody, whether that's Lang, whether that's PRTv, should be Daniel Levy, just to come out and say, you know what, we know what's going on, the fan base, blah, 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 we trust our manager and he's in this position and we're going to back him. Now, not to say they're going to say we're going to keep him in this job for 5 years, because nobody comes out and says that, because things can change in football very quickly. But what they can do is at least stop this, because we have so much division in our fan base, and it seems to be every single season. Every single season we get to a point where we've got so much division because of things that we've seen before. And we've seen this before,
We finished 5th. We scored more goals. We conceded slightly less goals. But have a look at that. Have a look at that table. Have a look at the table of goals against.
Mm-hmm.
And apart from the top 3, everyone's had a bloody nightmare. Villa conceded the same number of goals as we did, but no one's having a go at them.
Yeah. And I also think we probably
Manchester United finished with a minus goal difference.
Yeah. We probably wouldn't have had as much of this conversation with such vitriol if the season was put on its head. Had we ended the season like how Chelsea finished their season, I think we'd all be looking forward to the beginning of the season, because we started poorly, but look how we are now. It's kind of been in the reverse. And now when we have, again, the divisions in the fan base, where we've got players that we clearly have people on both sides. If we'd have signed Eze or Elise, none of this conversation would be happening right now. We'd all be saying, we're on the right path. So that's
we can't sign him until June the 14th at the earliest.
But this is what I want the Spurs board hierarchy, or someone, whether it's via some form of, I don't know, press release or something, just to kind of back this manager, because otherwise Ange will keep being honest, will keep talking, and the press are going to find gaps in there, and they're going to find things to kind of, antagonize. And because nobody else is backing him, he's going to be the spokesperson that's going to have to give all the information. And I don't think that's right for someone who is building something, who has said that he wants to win, I've got nothing wrong with any of those principles. But we need to have someone to back him up to say, right, okay, he's talking like this. Let's show the fans that we actually mean business well. Because there's no point in Ange coming out and saying, we're going to be challenged for the league. I want to win every single game. But you see an Emerson rule start more often than not. Doesn't match. doesn't compute. So that's all.
Emerson's agents are in Milan. Don't worry.
How the hell did they do that? How the hell did they do that?
Give them damn agents a raise, Emerson. If you get a move to AC Milan, give them damn agents a raise. I promise you that.
Seriously. But the same agents who managed to get Davinson Sanchez his move, you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
And Eric Dyer as well.
Them agents I want working for Spurs on a regular basis, because they're fantastic. However they did that. Anyway, that's enough. That's been a bit facetious. All right, people. I think that's
almost 2 hours.
Now 15 minutes.
Bloody hell.
It's been entertaining. It's fun, man.
Great fun. Great fun.
We cannot say is any boredom in this sporting club. We're never bored. Right. Thank you. Like, subscribe, comment, do all the rest of that. Make sure you do. Check us out on X. Check us out on Instagram. All the handles, all the rest of it are there. Look out for the shows coming up. Transfer windows, which is not open yet, but coming up. Speculation. If this is what it's like, we've got a lot more to come. But make sure you stick around with us. Changes coming to Pax and Road TV, PRTv Spurs. Thank you very much to Sean, Darius, and Sid, who's gone, and all those who've appeared. Oh, there's going to be more of these. Dear me.
We've got a whole summer.
We've got a whole summer of this. Talking points. Whole summer talking points. And there we go. There's the music. That's what I was looking for.
Watch the Copa America instead of the Euros. I think that would be much more fun.
I might watch Copa America this year. I think it will be fun as well. I actually might. I'm just waiting for Mbappe to Real Madrid to get announced. That's all I care about.
Mbappe to Spurs. I thought he was going to say,
oh God. Calm
down. David Clark, Dino Dinosaur.
Mbappe to Arsenal.
Don't you dare.
Paul, Pablo, thank you for watching, all of you guys. It's been a pleasure. Hot SUBSRCRIBE. Again, it's been a pleasure of ours. That's it. If you're watching on X, if you're watching on Twitch, if you're watching wherever you're watching, make sure there is an equivalent of a like, thumbs up, whatever it is. Do that for us. We need it. That's it. What music? I'm gonna go out of the drum and bass because I like the drum and bass. I was gonna get out the yours, but the drum and bass I like that a lot. So we're getting out of that music today, people. Come on, you Spurs.
More developed football, more developed